Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Eddie, and welcome to another episode of Eddie's Comic Culture Forum. Happy Monday. It's been a long weekend, and I know it's pretty much a bad day considering that it's been raining all day. But all in all, let's get this show on the road. Today, I wanted to discuss with you guys a personal acquisition of mine I just received about maybe a week ago. Um, I'm going to show it, as you may know, like I said before in my first episode, I was actually going to start discussing eventually toys and games. I know yesterday I spoke about Injustice 2. Today I am going to talk about one of my most favorite cartoons ever growing up as a child, and that's the Ghostbusters, the real Ghostbusters. And around that time I wasn't able to. Around that time I was growing as a child growing up. I was living in Queens, and I was living in a very religious and strict household. So a lot of the stuff that I was watching as a child had to be monitored basically. But every now and again, I always managed to sneak in my favorite shows and some movies as well. One of them was the real Ghostbusters. Apparently, as I was fell in love with the show like every other child did at the time, I was also insanely crazy, insane crazy about the new action figures that were coming out at the time because they were innovative. They were basically the most insane, looking toys you could possibly see. Plus, they're cool as all hell. You managed to have the Ecto One, the Firehouse, all four members of the Ghostbusters, and of course you had the staff that they had as well: Louis Tully, Janine Melnitz, Slimer. But one of the things I really loved was the Screaming Heroes edition. And I don't know if you guys, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys out there from my generation remember this toy right here, the Peter Venkman and Grown Ghost action figure. This one I had been looking for quite some time now. Honestly, it's it was it was my favorite Peter Venkman action figure growing up, and I always wanted to get my hands on it ever since I was young. I always remember. The only the closest I ever got to it was actually borrowing it from friends when I was a kid in school. So as the years went by, though, it was always in my this was always in the back of my mind. And what's always cool about this is just um, I love how they always they always added something new to the figures, especially like the ghosts and stuff like that. A lot of the times, at least this one, you managed to have something as far as a ghost was concerned, or ghouls, uh, to have as like to play with the opposite of the figure in itself, which was always great. That's also it was kind of a plus for me. You get like a free package that villain to go with your action figure. And what was always awesome was the back card of these figures was just always just the display of all the available all the assorted toys that they had available from this line at that time. And it was just awesome. I mean, honestly speaking, to me, as a kid growing up, they couldn't get any cooler than this. And so now that now that I'm older and I actually had the means to pick one up, I actually did. And especially now with the real Ghostbusters streaming now on Netflix, all seasons of it, by the way. If you haven't checked it out, definitely go. If you have a Netflix account, definitely get a chance to just make sure you take a look at it. And I know at this point a lot of people usually. I like to take my figures out. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I have quite a bit of action figures. A lot of them are still back up north. I am having to work getting them sent down to me, but at this point, as I got older, I always wanted to have the whole set. Like to me, if I wanted the figures, I wanted now at this point for me to take it out of the package, I have to have the complete set. It's gonna take some time, so it'll be a while before I actually hit this thing open, honestly. But for the most part, it's definitely at least I have it in my possession now, and I don't have to go crazy wondering, what if or, because then I now have it. But it is an incredible, this was an incredible toy line. They were, like I said before, the monsters were always innovative. You can never get tired of it. The proton pack, so on and so forth. Then you have the Ecto vehicles, Ecto 1 and Ecto 2. The Firehouse, which I know is going to be probably the most expensive acquisition if I ever decide to pick one up. And I do intend to do so. But it's going to take me some, I'm pretty sure it's going to take me some saving going on. Unless maybe I could get lucky off of eBay. But I actually go through Amazon a lot when it comes to my shopping for figures. And, honestly, it's these action figures were so much fun as a kid because of how they were. The fright. You had the fright feature figures where you squeeze the legs and it made a crazy face, so on and so forth. And then just for example, right here you have the Peter Venkman figure and the Egon, of course. I don't know if you guys can get a good glimpse of it on my camera, but this is just to give you an idea as to how they were like. And there was a lot more villains as well. I always wanted the Sam Hain Halloween figure, also the Boogeyman figure, which was pretty scary. Even though that was the episode that kind of scared me the most, was the Boogeyman. But like I said, these were all in great fun. As I was saying earlier, I do want to open up this package, and it's hard. It's definitely difficult for me to not want to open it because it's just as I said, the 11-year-old in me is dying to just tear it open and just start playing games. But at the end of the day, it's just like, nah, I can't right about now. I'll open it one day once I have Egon, Ray, and and Winston, and maybe even Janine as well. Once I have the entire assorted line, and basically have my share of it and relive childhood memories again. But this is just one of my favorites as far as the 80s were concerned. I always loved the action figures from the 80s, and particularly so Thundercats and He-Man. I know they re-released a lot of the Masters of the Universe editions action figures, but they're very expensive now. Like, it's a lot more expensive, way more. Even the new figures that are coming out now. I have a He-Man action, not exactly a He-Man action figure. It's called Hero, who's like apparently in this line he's a son of He-Man. And that alone in itself, I think he was never in the show. He was never in the cartoons, obviously. So I'm assuming he must at some point have appeared in the Masters of the Universe comic book line. But that alone in itself, brand new, was just $30. You know, if you want a regular He-Man action figure nowadays, it's actually going anywhere from 90 to 100. So it's quite they're quite expensive, but they're great in detail. The articulation is amazing, and you can never get bored with it. And as soon as I get myself together, I will definitely be picking up quite a bit of that toy line as well. Thundercats also was a fantastic toy line I loved. Um, Lion-O, Tigra, Panthro, Chitara, Wily Kid and Wily Cat, and then Thunder Tank, Momron, the Mutants. Those were my favorites as well. I loved them, and that's another. At least their line. They did re-release a few of their figures. They are a bit, they're just a little more. They're a little bit more affordable than what the Masters of the Universe line is actually. So they're actually more doable for me in the price range. However, I know quite a few things that if I ever wanted the Thunder Tank, which is no longer in circulation whatsoever, it's going to cost me a pretty penny, of course. But if I could find one if I could find one in a good enough condition, I could definitely, and the price is well enough and within my range, I'll definitely pick it up. But definitely, it's one of those great things to deal with. To actually see your childhood memories come to life with these toys again, especially when you come across them. I always go through Google and see whatever kind of sites I can, you know, whatever sites that are up and available of offering these figures again for my enjoyment. But definitely, this is one of the this is one of my piece de resistance. Now that I actually have this figure, and I can't tell you how much it feels. That even though at 36 years old, I'm just blown away with the fact of even having this, and it's definitely something I'm always going to cherish now from now on forever. So as I said before, that'll be my next. This is definitely one of my top missions right about now is collecting the entire Real Ghostbusters line. Not all of them, obviously, because that would be going through all of that would just be burning a hole in my account, and it's insane. Unless I was rich, of course, but. Yeah, I'm, like I said, happier than a pagan crap, I guess you could say. But definitely, I guess for this edition, I'm going to wrap it up. It's a quick little special episode I wanted to do to show you guys what I'm into. Um, you know what's up. If you have any questions or comments, suggestions, hit the comment section. Let me know if there are any in particular figures that you guys are crazy about. Any toy lines that from past and present that you guys are interested in picking up. Let me know. Let's have a discussion about this. So until then, see you next time. Take care.